No stress, no stress. So we're here to talk about fear of falling today. Tell me a bit more about the project and what you do in it.
Brilliant, man. Yeah, so it's a really exciting, quite a out of the blue kind of a project. So it's a COVID project, as most of these things have happened recently. So our guitarist Lloyd Timke, he had a couple songs, and he recorded them at home. Like he had a little home studio set up, and he recorded them at home. And then he found me on Facebook. I was advertising some mixing, and then he sent the songs to me. I mixed them as best as I could, considering they're not really proper recordings or whatnot. He kind of just recorded them at home, and he was happy with them, and he enjoyed that. And then I think he wanted to just take them to the next step. So then he contacted Dale, our drummer, and he's got a fantastic studio as well. So he just wanted to go there and get them like properly recorded and properly mixed and everything. And then he saw a live stream of Jack Atlantic on Facebook as well, and thought, no, I like this guy's voice. I want to see if he can maybe, write some lyrics and sing on the songs. And yeah, Jack said, yeah, he enjoys the songs. He liked the sound of them. So he hopped on board. And then when all the recording was happening, Lloyd contacted me and said, listen, man, we need a bassist just to lay down the tracks for the songs. Am I interested? And I was like, yeah, of course, I enjoy the songs. So I went through to Dale's studio, started recording. And then later during that day, everyone also joined in. And at the end of the day, everyone was just like, okay, well, this is the band, eh? Like, this is Fear of Falling. And I was like, oh, what? Okay. We're doing this? All right, cool. And then it kind of just took off from there, eh? We just haven't stopped.
No, that's sick, because Dale, if I'm not mistaken, is also the drummer of Prime Circle.
Yes, that's correct.
And that's incredible, man. Like, it's such a group of people who came together. It's just boom, here's a band, and it just immediately put out quality music. It's so cool.
Yeah, for sure. It's quite amazing. I think that's why it works so well as well, is that each member of the band is not, without sounding like egotistical or whatever, it's just we're not newbies in the scene. Like we've been around, we've all had our own sort of success in our music projects. So I think when it came together, it's just a bit of a meeting of the minds. Like we all know what needs to happen, and we all know how to do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. Everyone's experienced. Everyone knows what they're doing. There's no one
Exactly.
who's sort of like figuring out what's happening.
Yes,
like
exactly.
a new band where everyone comes together. It's their first time in studio. It's their first time writing songs or whatever. Everyone there is a seasoned musician, and they know what they're doing.
Exactly. Like when it came to our live show that we had a couple weeks ago, it was our first show, but it was brilliant. It went off so well, like performance wise, professional wise, like setup wise, just the level of prep and the level of quality. You can see it's just it's because we've all been there. We know what we want to do, we know how to do it, and we just executed it well. And I think having someone like Lloyd in the band, he's quite a business guy, so he's got a very good level head on him, and he's got a determined direction, and he often makes some of the big calls and some of the big shots, which is great, because we need someone like that. And I think a lot of the credit is due to him making some of the good calls. And then having Dale in the band is also a massive thing. His production and mixing on the songs and whatnot is incredible. Having Jack as well, he's also got a lot of success on radio. Even his own songs are fantastic. So again, it's the right people in the right context.
Yeah, it just came together and made something great. Like,
exactly.
I was listening to the songs, and my first instinct was I got a Breaking Benjamin vibe, and I thoroughly enjoy Breaking Benjamin, so I thought that was really cool.
That is one of the bigger influences.
Oh shit! Okay, that's dope.
Yeah,
I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Oh, that's such a compliment, man. I mean, we've also like I said, it's mostly started by Lloyd's project, right? And he's a big Breaking Benjamin fan. He likes Chevelle as well, Seether, that scene of people. And I think that kind of translates quite well into our music.
When I started listening to it, I was like, shit, the production quality is amazing. Like, I don't know how to say. Like I find that a lot of things are the low end is kind of missing, or it's either
Mhm.
too much, and this is like a nice blend. It fills out really nicely. So
Yeah.
I'm stoked with how you guys did this.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, I think that's maybe a lot of credit to Dale and Lloyd, because there's just layers and layers of guitars, and they're all drop tuned as far as possible. You know, I mean, I have to play a 5-string bass now, because I'm usually a 4-string player. Now I have to play a 5-string, and even the lowest string is even tuned down further. So we just want it to be as heavy and ballsy as possible.
Yeah, what tuning are you guys actually playing in? Just for like any of the music nerds out there, what tuning are you guys actually in?
Sure, I don't know. I think with Lloyd, he changes a lot. Um, I think he's got like 5 or 6 guitars on stage. To be honest,
What?
Yeah, there's a lot of different tunings for him. With me, I'm in standard tuning, but my B string, which is the low one, has just been drop tuned to A. And then there's like one song that I have to drop it just that little bit further to G sharp.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
so it is crazy, man.
like, like as a band, like for myself, we play in drop A. Like so,
Okay.
everything, bass, guitars, and everything, and we're considered like a heavier band. So for something that's like more alternative rock to be playing in that tuning is so strange, but it works so well.
It does. It's so full, like you said. It's quite surprising, actually. I think it's a bit of a blend of the whole. It's a lot of low end, but because it's a lot of distorted guitars, it fills out the high end as well. It almost creates like this mid scoop where like the vocals and effects and pianos and crap that's in there too fills out that mid section as well. So I think just the way it's been set up just creates such a nice full sound. Yeah, but I think it's because of sort of the drop tunings, and also we want to be a heavier band. That is more the motive, but and I think that's also why we want to have the drop tunings. But yeah, man, there's C sharp tuning, there's G sharp tuning, there's A tuning, there's a whole bunch of them.
I just can't go over the fact that the man has 6 guitars on stage. That must, like, you guys have been playing live, if I'm not mistaken, as well. And
yes,
just hauling all of that as a single guitarist, I'm trying to imagine hauling your
yes.
amp and your guitar is a mission on its own, hauling 6 guitars safely. No, man. Like, I don't know if I could if I could handle that without having an anxiety attack.
Well, we do have an assistant sometimes when we need it, when we have the opportunity to have him. But yeah, it also looks cool, I suppose. You know, if you see a stage and there's like 6 guitars there.
Is there one guitarist in the band, or is it Lloyd and Jack Atlantic that's playing guitars, or is it just one guitarist?
Yeah, Jack Atlantic plays too. There's a couple songs where he steps away for it, and then it's just purely frontman, which is cool because then you can engage with the crowd a bit more, which is nice. But yeah, he also does a bit of the rhythm stuff, and then sometimes plays like a little lead line. But yeah, the core guitar is Lloyd.
But that's cool. Like that's even more impressive that it's one guitarist sort of pulling those things out, which just takes it back to his skill as a musician. Especially, he's putting a lot of effort into filling out those gaps.
For sure, yeah. And I think what's also great is no, it's cool that 3 of us can sing. You know, so obviously Jack Atlantic takes the main vocal, but to have me and Dale there doing some of the harmonies is so nice. I think it's such an important and big step in a band if you can have multiple singers, you know. I think that just elevates the band to another level.
Yeah, no, it definitely fills things out. Like it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, exactly.
I just love how everyone is basically bearded, like except like in these photographs that I've got a few cars, like everyone's bearded except you.
I think if I grow a beard, I'll just get a fat face. It rounds out my face too much.
Oh no, that's terrible. At least you could grow a beard. Like I'm baby faced. Like I can't. Like I just grow. Like it's terrible. I got a sick pedo stash, but that's it. That's all. Like, and no one wants that. how have you guys like been finding now with, so obviously you guys formed now as a COVID project, and with things starting to ease up a bit, how has it been getting back into playing shows and stuff as a new band? But obviously with experienced musicians, how has that had an influence on the kind of shows that you've been playing? Has it been a good reception, I'm assuming?
Dude, it's been incredible, eh? Like I said, we've only had one real show. We've been wanting to play a couple last year, but it just kept being delayed and whatnot because of restrictions. But yeah, we had our first proper one a couple of weeks ago, and it was absolutely amazing. It was at Molly Malone's there in Fourways. We had Carrie Ann doing a DJ set for us, and she was awesome. I think there was a good 600 people there. It was 500 to 600 people. It was nuts, man. It was incredible. We had a fantastic team as well, setting up the stage and doing all the sound and the lighting. It was incredible, man. And it's so nice, just purely because, like I said, we've got some veterans in the band. So in terms of marketing and whatnot, like that carries a lot of weight. So I think that added to the reception of the show. So yeah, man, it's been great. But yeah, man, it's so nice to get back on stage. After,
yeah, I can imagine.
Basically 2 years, eh?
Like, funny enough, like Prime Circle was the first live band that I ever saw, and
right.
But like just after, so I didn't even have like my first electric guitar yet, and I think that was the band that day in the Botanical Gardens was the day that like sparked my love to get more interested in the live music scene in South Africa. Because up until that point, I had no idea that Prime Circle was a South African band. I was that like naive, or so like I was so clueless about the South African music scene at that point in time. I mean, I was like 16, and I knew absolutely nothing.
I get you. I was also there. I thought the same way.
And it was so cool. Like like, yeah, I'm a bit tongue tied here.
No, it is incredible.
It's pretty surreal, like how far it's come. And I would be cool to like tell him that story. You know, that like, hey, you had a big impact in my getting involved, getting involved in music.
For sure, man. For sure. I mean, I'll tell you. I'll mention that to him. Yeah, it's quite insane. Also, a little bit of a roundabout story for me is Yumi and the Harmony played a show at the end of 2020, and funnily enough, we were the opening act for Prime Circle at Platteland. And that's, I mean, I sort of met the dudes backstage and whatnot. We had a couple of conversations with the guys, but like I didn't really know them personally or whatever. And then, yeah, a few months down the line, then I'm in a band with their drummer.
It's so dope.
Weird how that
happens.
So cool.
Like, but you've had the opportunity to like have some chats with some cool artists. I mean, you guys, as You and the Harmony, you had the chance to open for Our Last Night, and a couple of others that came. Was it also Hands Like Houses, if I'm not mistaken? You guys opened for that as well.
Yes, yeah. We've played with a few big hitters.
Ah, man, like it's living a dream there for a lot of people, myself included.
And you know, like I said, it's great that we get to do these things. We're very fortunate and privileged that we can do these things. It has a little bit of luck. I'm not gonna lie. Like I think as a musician, if you want to, it's a broad term, but if you want to make it one day, you know, it's a very slim chance. But there's always a chance. So I think what we're doing and at the level we're doing it, it's brilliant. And I think we just want to hope that it can carry on this way and you know, sky's the limit, man. If it can go as far as it can, then that's where it's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, your debut show you played to 600 people. Like that's a lot of people dream of that. Like some people may look at that number and think, you know, 600. But to any musician who's been working in the South African music scene, that's for a debut show for a band's first gig. That is a lot of people. That is a big turnout.
Yeah, I mean, I think personally for me, that's probably the most I've ever played to, besides, you know, like your school assembly.
I think, like me personally, the most people I've ever played to is somewhere between 80 to 120, and like that was an incredible experience. You know, there's people out there who've played to solo.
It is, but you know, I've also thought that it kind of depends on the venue as well. Like if it's small, then you know, 80 people seems like 1,000 people, and it can feel and look and sound exactly like 1,000 people. So I've never been one to be like, you know, more people the better. I think it's more about the quality of the people. And you know, if the people are there enjoying you and you're enjoying their feedback to you, then it just makes the whole show incredible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, definitely. That crowd interaction and that energy that can make a huge difference. You guys are, like, obviously started out now with an EP, and I'm not sure if this EPK that I have is a little bit older. So
Okay.
you guys are, if I'm not mistaken, are you currently working on an album?
We've already released an album. So yeah, we had
so that's most likely what I've been listening to.
So yeah, we released the EP, which is called Breaking Point. I think it's got about 5 songs on there, 5 or 6 songs. I can't remember. But yes, it had our first #1 hits on there, Won't Let Go. And I think Fear of Falling also climbed to #2 on the charts. And then yeah, we've got our full-length album Breaking Point, which has a Sunrise on there, which is our second #1 that hit the top charts. And that's I think that's a 10 track album.
Yeah, that's like so Turning Point is the one that I have open that I've been listening to. Oh, that's cool.
Right, brilliant. Yeah, and then Breaking Point's the full length album.
I'm confused. Is the album not Turning Point?
Turning Point. Oh, sorry. Yes, yeah. I also get confused, man.
I'm sitting here and I'm reading it. I'm like, wait. Like, I'm pretty sure this says album on the top of it. Like, I'm not sure somewhere.
Dude, I get confused all the time. Yeah. So Turning Point is the album, and Breaking Point's the EP.
No, I just want you to like walk me through your journey as a musician. So you are probably one of the like most talented bassists that I know of in the music scene. I mean, I've followed you for years, man.
And yeah, man, we've played the same gigs.
Yeah, we've played a couple. But I always, like, when I played bass, I always looked up to you as a bassist. And just walk me through like your journey as a bassist, as a musician as a whole, and just how you've sort of the steps that you've taken to get to the sort of point that you are now. And what sort of advice would you give to someone who's trying to work to a similar position, or, you know, work towards a similar goal?
I get you. So, well, obviously, I've always wanted to play music when I was a teenager. My dad and my parents and my grandparents and whatnot, they all played music. So it's just natural that I was going to pick up something along the line. And then I went for lessons, as like anyone should, really. And then when I left school, I became a music teacher. And that's where I met the guys in You, Me and the Harmony. They were looking for a bassist. I just happened to be there, and it was my first band. Was You, Me and the Harmony. Is You, Me and the Harmony, because we're still going. And yeah, man, it's just being around musicians and just playing shows and meeting other people. And I think that's just how you grow and connect. Is you play these shows and speak to the other guys. You know, you never know what comes of it. What comes of it. I've also found like you might have to just say yes a few more times. Like if you want to do, if there's a crappy gig, just do it. You know, you never know. Or if someone, like for examples, you know, so if someone calls me up and says, "Hey, can you come and record bass for my song?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" You know, it'll grow you as a bassist or a musician in general. It's also nice to explore and experiment. Don't just be stuck in your one genre that you like, or your one favorite kind of style of song, whatever. You know, experiment a bit. It grows you as a musician. You learn a lot from playing with other people as well. For example, like You, Me and the Harmony is very alternative pop punk, right? And then Fear of Falling is very much hard rock, maybe a bit of metal, which is very different genres. But it's also taught me a lot on how to play my instrument, and it's grown. So I think if I can give any advice, is just to play, man, just to be around people, just to experiment and learn from each other, and it'll just help you grow. And you never know what can come of it, eh?
No, that is some solid advice. Like I've actually spoken to one of your students, to one of the people that you taught. I think it's Eldon.
Alden, yes, yeah.
And that he's come a long way as a musician, and he looked up to you, or he probably still does.
Yeah, I still chat to him every now and then.
He's a cool dude, like, and he's come such a long way as a musician. Like, I'm sure for you, like, it's sort of surreal to know that you had an impact in like the musical journeys of so many like youngsters or people in general.
Oh, for sure, man. I mean, that's what music's for, eh? It's to be shared. It's to give an experience. It's a language at the end of the day, you know. So you gotta speak your language, man.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, musicians are a different breed as well. They're a strange group.
Yeah, we're all messed up, man.
Who would you say you look up to the most, like in the South African music scene? Like, as someone who I know for a fact that a lot of people look up to. Who would you say is your primary sort of influence that you look up to as one artist? Just whether it's about their work ethic, their musical talents, or anything. Who do you look up to?
Sure, that's a tough question. I'm not gonna lie. Look, I'm gonna say I can name a couple. Like working with Dale for sure is a bit of a dream come true as well. Just because he is who he is, he's got his success with Prime Circle, and he's just such an experienced person. But he's also just such a great person. He's got such a great personality. He knows exactly what he's talking about, and you know, just to learn from someone like him with all his experience is amazing. I look up to that, and but people like Greg van Kerkel from Red Helen, he is probably the most insane bassist I'll ever meet in my life, and he's
also such a genuine human being.
Exactly, man. Just such a nice person, such a lacquer dude, and like you said, like work ethic wise, I don't think I know anyone that practices and masters his skill more than he does, you know. So like musicianship wise, I look up to him in that way. I'm trying to think. There's just, it's so difficult because there's so many great musicians in South Africa. It's sad that we don't get compared to the rest of the world enough.
No, I agree with you 100%. I recently reached out to Greg to ask him a couple of questions, and he took the time. Like, he doesn't know me, but he took the time to just fully in detail answer any of my questions, and went above and beyond. Just like someone he doesn't know. I was asking him for information regarding Fiverr, and you know what? He took the time to just explain and, you know, give tips and advice and things that have worked for him and all sorts of stuff. And you know, he didn't have to do that. You know, like I said, for someone that he doesn't know, and it was incredible. Like, I appreciated it so much.
It is amazing, and I think that's what's so great about the South African music community as a whole, is that most of us, because it's quite small, like a lot of us know each other, and I think that's so great because everyone's so free to share knowledge and almost become like a bit of a camaraderie there. No one's shy to show and explain how they've gotten from where they are. You know what I mean? Like it's great that we have such a healthy community of music like that, of musicians.
Yeah, I can definitely say, for like, I can count on one hand times that I've worked or experienced musicians in the local community that have just been unpleasant. Like, the majority of them are very, very accommodating and very welcoming as well. I was just saying, for the day I met you guys, you, me, and the Harmony Fenton's, we were on the same bill, and the opening lines meeting you guys was, "Hey, so we stuffed up. Can we borrow a power supply for a pedal?" And that was how bands met. Like,
yes, in fact, I think it was me that borrowed my power pedal.
I think so. Yeah.
I think it was me. I seem to remember something like that.
Just tell me, man. Like, out of all the songs that you guys have released so far, what would be your personal favorite out of all of them?
I've had that question before. I think being a bassist, the rhythm instrument, I like sort of the more rhythmically driven songs. So songs like End of Days is really cool. It's quite a heavy song as well, so there's like a lot of low end and it's quite rhythmical, so that's great. I like that one. I think Numb the Pain is also a nice one because you won't hear it in the album, but live I have more of a melodic bass line in it, so I get to shine off a little bit on that one. Even Falling is a great one because it's also like a very rhythmically driven sort of hard song. But yeah, then we get our songs like Sunrise, which is a nice, it's almost like a power ballad in a way, and it's quite big sounding, if that makes sense. And it's just so nice to play, just because of its entirety. I'm trying to think what else, and then yeah, like Won't Let Go, right? It stands out from the rest of the album, and because it has a bit more of that alternative sort of pop punkiness to it, and that's more my favorite genre. And I get to sing a bit in that one too, so I enjoy that one quite a lot. Yeah, it's tough to pick them out. They're also great.
No, it's like picking your children, man. Like, you gotta find, like, you can't really choose which one that you love more out of all of
Exactly.
them. There's always going to be a favorite child somewhere along the line. Like honestly, for me, like bass is one of the most underrated instruments. It has one of the most rated roles in music, and this is just generally for like the listening audience. Most musicians understand how important bass is in a song, and like I bring this up a lot. But my uncle, who has been a guitarist for something stupid like 30 years, and when I was playing bass, one of the first things he said to me was, "If your band has a shit bassist, you have a shit band."
That's very true, eh?
Because a lot of the time people can't tell what's wrong. They can't tell why they don't like it or what's wrong with it. Something just sounds off and they don't know who to blame. And
yeah,
generally in that case, it's the bassist.
I'd go a step further to say that the most important thing, or I'm going to say one of the most important things, because it can be a subjective topic, is the bassist and the drummer, because it's a rhythm section, right? And obviously the drums is the rhythm and the bass is the rhythm, but the bass is also the chord progression, and it's also the melody in a way. So if you have a good foundation of a good bassist and a good drummer, then that's about half the battle won,
Like your bass is your tie between your percussion and your strings, essentially, or anything else that's in a more lead role. So
yeah,
your bass is what ties everything together. It's that sort of linchpin.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, it's the glue. It's the glue of everything. You take that away, you got a thin mess.
Yeah, pretty much. I do always like whenever I meet someone who's starting out with guitar, like one of the things I do recommend is to try and learn the basics of bass, because understanding groove is a huge part of it as well. Like, there's a lot of guitarists who are technically very good, but they have no concept of groove. And the quickest way to learn that is to pick up a bass. And like I'm by no means a great bassist, but it has definitely, understanding how to play bass and understanding how bass works has definitely improved me as a musician, as a guitarist, just understanding how to lock in and how to create grooves, not just noise.
100%, dude. Also, being a great musician is like you're not just focusing solely on your own instrument. You have to, if you're going to be playing alongside other people, you got to know what they're playing. Like, you might not necessarily know how to play it or what they came up with, but whatever you're doing needs to complement what they're doing. And I think that's why drums and bass are so tightly connected, because you kind of have to play together to create that glue, like you said. And I think bass is so unique in that sense. Like I said, it's a rhythmical and a melodic instrument, but you're also carrying the chord progression, which is something you have to work with the guitarists or the pianists or whoever else is creating the the chords or the melodies or whatnot. And then often vocalists sing along to the bass line, or the bass line creates it works in unison in a way to the vocalist. So I think that's why I like bass so much, is that it plays a part with every element in the music, if that makes sense.
No, definitely, it does 100% make sense.
So that's why I chose bass.
Thing to master. It's a very like bass gets thing of as the easy guitar, but it's not. It is really
it's
not.
100% not. Look, I'm not going to say I'm one of the greatest bassists ever. I enjoy what I do, and I think with the skills and the knowledge that I know, I do it well and it works for me. There's always room for improvement, right? But I think that's also another thing, is that if you understand what your capabilities are, that will automatically already make you a better player as well. Like I can name 100 better bassists than me. I mean, we were speaking about Greg from Catcoff earlier. I look up to that guy. I don't think I could ever hit that guy's level.
The thing about this is that musicians are like hypercritical. Like we can always just name, nah, I'm not that great. Here's a list of people who are better than me. And those people will always have a list of people who are better than them. And
it's very true.
It's in our nature.
I also understand that I'm a different player. As expansive that music is, everyone's a different player. You know, it's almost an extension of yourself. So no two humans are alike. You know, so I think it's the same thing for every player. Everyone's different in some way, and you'll have something that another player doesn't have, and that's something you can teach them, and that's something they can learn from you, and vice versa. Like you might find something that another player likes that you can learn from, and I think that's also such a great thing about music, and that's what's great about our small music community here in South Africa, is that we all like to bounce ideas and skills and whatnot off each other as well.
I can definitely agree with that, because most of my musical journey of learning has been playing with musicians who are far more experienced than myself, and learning from them, watching them play, learning how they do things. And like you said, you can learn something from just about anyone, whether they're more experienced than you or not. Like just because of the nature of how they voice themselves or how they express themselves musically, you can potentially learn something from them and incorporate it in your own way.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I would even say the point where I became a better musician is when I started playing with other people. Like that gap from sitting at home and playing to my favorite songs and practicing and whatnot. Obviously, I still do that for fun and obviously still do the practicing. But that gap between playing in your bedroom and playing with other people is the best thing any musician can do, and no one can teach you that.
Yeah, it's definitely a skill that you learn like over time, is working with other musicians and stuff. That is something that you learn how to do, and it's something to touch on what you said earlier, is complementing you properly listening or understanding what your bandmates are doing or what the musicians you're working with are doing, and doing something that either complements or works with it. Or like you said, you're not always going to be in the limelight. It's not always about you. Sometimes what you're going to be playing or not be playing is going to complement another person in your group.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I firmly believe that. Not everyone can have the spotlight. Sometimes you need to create the spotlight for someone else, and that could be your silent spotlight, if that makes sense.
I think there's a quote from is it Tim from Rise Against? Sometimes the best thing you play is the thing you don't play.
I don't think it was him specifically. I think because it's quite an old saying. I think it was someone like Clapton or Lennon or one of those.
So something that's been borrowed, like passed down.
Yeah. It's basically, it's like, it's not. I think it's something like, it's not the notes you play, it's the ones you don't play. Something along those lines. But yeah, it's the message is the same, you know, because music it's not just noise and sound all the time. You know, to make it sound good, it needs to be dynamic, and you need to create some space, and you need to create some tension and whatnot. Like that's part of the creativity of music.
No, that is definitely true. Now, when it comes to Fear of Falling, what are your guys' plans for the near future? What are you guys looking at currently doing? Are you
So
looking at doing more live shows, or what's the situation? What are you guys planning on doing?
yeah, so like I said, next weekend we've got a show at the Daisy Jones Bar in Stellenbosch. And then mid-March we've got a show at Sonnage here in Joburg. And then there's a couple other ones that we're planning down the line in during the year. And then we also we're going to try and get another couple singles out this year and maybe start recording the next album. So that's the near future plans at the moment.
No, that's sick. Like, if you guys, I know Durban's not exactly the go-to music destination at the moment, but if you guys are coming down here, I definitely want to check it out.
100%, man. I mean, I think at this point we just want to play. Eh? We just want to, wherever we can go, we'll go there. There's a possibility for us to play in Pietermaritzburg in May. I know it's not Durban, but it's close.
It's close enough. Like,
it's close enough. Yeah, man. We just want to get out there and play.
I think that's like the standpoint of a lot of musicians at the moment, with COVID, with everything that's happened, with the sort of restrictions on playing shows. Everyone is just stoked to be back out there, and you can see it in the energy of all the bands that, like, I'm seeing videos starting to surface back up on social media of like live shows, whether it's small gigs, big gigs, but you can just see the excitement, you can see the energy of just everyone who's back on stage, just the absolute joy.
I think that might just be the bit of a silver lining from the lockdown, is like now when everyone's back, like the shows are probably better than ever in a way.
And like, what my sort of standpoint on this, I've spoken about it in a few episodes, is I'm hoping that in terms of a crowd reception or as a listening or a viewer, is that the absence makes the heart grow fonder kind of deal, where we had such a dry spell of shows for a year and a half, 2 years, and that hopefully brings more people out to just go and see things that shows they wouldn't have otherwise gone to, just for the pure sake of going out to see some live music.
No, I agree. I think I even chatted to a few people at our show a couple of weeks ago, and they were just saying how amazing it is just to be out again and watch some live music. Like they couldn't believe how much they missed it. And they were even saying like they can't wait to go to more. So I completely agree there. Yeah.
Oh man, like what's in your opinion, what's one of the shows that you've been to recently? What would you say has been your favorite recent show that you've gone to go watch?
It's a tricky question because I honestly haven't been out too much because I've been extremely busy. But I did watch Dirty Moonshine the other day. They're always fun to watch. Watch Parts and Fiction as well. They also we've got a lot of history with that band as well. We've played a lot with them, so it's just nice to see that pre-COVID bands are also still as good, if not better than what they were, and it's still good to see them again. Other than that, I haven't been to a lot of recent shows, but I do definitely want to. It's just finding the time personally.
Yeah, no, it can be quite difficult, really.
Yeah,
the thing it reaches a point in life where it gets difficult to sort of balance things.
But it's great though. Like I said, we're getting a bit more busy. And like just personally myself, You Me and the Harmony has another show, and then my other band called Maybe in the Sequel. We've got a couple shows coming up. In fact, Maybe in the Sequel is going to be opening for Fear of Falling at Sonnage. So I'm very excited to be at these events that I can play at. But I'm also I'm always a fan first too. So I like to be there in the beginning, and I like to watch all the bands, and I'll be there in the beginning and watch the opening acts. I'll be there at the end watching the closing ones. I'm just a fan of music at the end of the day as well. So I think that's where I'm going to get most of my opportunity to watch others, is because I'm playing the same event. Otherwise, it's difficult to find the time to go out and watch all these other bands. But I do want to, yeah.
Like, I'm sure as an artist though, like, you appreciate it when other artists watch you as well. Like, and then that sort of thing is. I know for a fact that if I'm there and I'm playing a show, I'll make an effort to watch pretty much every band that's playing. And I know that the same. That feeling is mutual, that when you watch other artists who watch your bands, they appreciate you in a different way. to like the other people that are there, and it really means a lot.
No, that's so true. And like I said earlier, it comes a little bit back to that whole they've created something that you could learn from, and something unique. It's a whole package thing. And like you said, being a musician yourself, watching other musicians, you have a different view on how they perform and how they play. And like you said, you have a bit of a deeper understanding, so there's a bit more of an appreciation in it. So yeah, it's brilliant. I love watching other musicians play.
No, man, it's a lot of fun, definitely. Now, so in closing, where can people find the music of Fear of Falling?
If you have a phone, if you have a computer, if you have anything that's connected to the internet, we are all over the internet. You can look on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, YouTube, freaking anywhere you go where there's music, we are there. We've got a couple music videos on YouTube as well. We're quite often on the radio now as well. So if you've tuned into radio, there might be a good chance that we're on radio. We are planning to print a couple CDs and a couple vinyls at some point, but I think we're very much past that age. I think that's more just a collector's item and a piece of merchandise.
I have a record player. I would be so stoked to have a vinyl.
Brilliant. Well, if we get it made, and I'll let you know, man.
Fantastic. That would be sick. I'd be so stoked to have that in my little collection. But
brilliant.
Oh, fantastic. Like I'm so stoked. Man, it's been a pleasure having you to have a chat. It's been so God, why am I so tongue tied? I've been so stoked to have a chat about the band and to learn a lot more about you guys. Really, thank you so much for taking the time to come have a chat with me.
No, thank you, Marcel. It's always freaking awesome chatting with you, man. It's always nice to reminisce a little bit.
Watch me fall. Take my hand and show my soul.